Welcome to the DesignRush podcast. I'm your host, Vianca Mayer. Today, we're thrilled to have Gali Erez from Wix discussing the game-changing impact of no-code platforms, AI and web development, and strategic platform integrations like those with Figma.
People feel really empowered by all the technology that is going on, and their expectation keeps getting bigger and bigger into what they want to be able to achieve. I think it's the decade of auto deduction, like learning by yourself and being able to kind of grab a bunch of tools to really become kind of this superpower, one human.
No-code platforms enable agencies to swiftly turn visions into reality without traditional coding barriers, fueling creativity and rapid market delivery.
And I think what is really amazing about the no-code tools, and you see it with agencies, is that they have a project in hand or a brief, and they have this vision for it, and they want to be able to achieve it exactly how they envisioned.
AI tools further streamline operations, cut costs, and enhance customer engagement, driving substantial business growth.
I think what many agencies that we talk to are trying to find ways to achieve that incredible result. And I think that's obviously where AI comes into play, and also collaboration.
Strategic platform integrations with major brands elevate small agencies, expanding capabilities and market reach, and attracting high-profile clients.
Anything a client needs, you want to make sure as an agency that you don't hit a wall. So I think that's a place that we see that even the small agencies have the vision and they have the capabilities to take on big clients because of collaboration, because of AI, because they can do so much more as a single individual.
Remember to like and subscribe to stay updated with all our future conversations with industry leaders. Now, join us as Gali Erez shares powerful insights on using technology for innovation and growth. Let's get started. Gali, a very warm welcome to the DesignRush podcast. Again, it is so cool having you here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for the conversation, and I've heard a bunch of the episodes. I love it.
Oh, amazing. I'm so glad. And actually, we've had one of your colleagues as well on the show before as well, and he was amazing. He was really, really good.
I won't lie. I asked him for some tips.
Oh, really? What did he say? I'm just curious.
He said he actually was stressed to find a nice background and all sorts of stuff. No, but I think, it's part of our job where we talk so much that I feel like he felt ready. Yeah,
he was great. He was absolutely great. Okay, Gali, so let's jump right in. The first question that I want to ask you about is no code and low code development, and it's particularly about the market actually. Now, I know that it's expected to reach like something like 22 or 21.2 billion this year, and it's growing by like 28% since 2022. Now, I wonder, from your perspective, Gali, why is there this sudden surge or need for no-code development platforms?
So I think something really incredible is happening. First up, I think that what we're seeing is that people feel really empowered by all the technology that is going on, and their expectation is keeps getting bigger and bigger into what they want to be able to achieve. Okay. And also being able to learn on your own. I think it's the decade of, auto deduction, like learning by yourself and being able to kind of grab a bunch of tools to really become kind of this superpower, one human. And I think it's really cool because we also see, on the other hand, incredible collaboration because of it. So I think the no-code tools are super popular because, when we look at COVID, when we look at all the things in our pretty recent history, we were sitting at home, closed up, and we wanted to get things done, and we wanted to have the burst of creativity go somewhere and to learn things. And you just see it exactly in the numbers. It's pretty incredible.
It is pretty incredible. I have to say, I think there's also like a major need for personalization right now. And I think maybe, because people can go onto a no-code platform and they kind of customize it the way that they want it to do it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's also really popular. So I'm not surprised. My point is I'm not surprised that it's taking off as much as it is. But I do wonder though, Gali, why do you think, or how do you think this really appeals to agency owners?
Okay, so I think you touched on a really amazing point, which is we are becoming spoiled in a good way, where the vision that we want to happen, we want to be able to achieve it. Okay. And I think what is really amazing about the no-code tools, and you see it with agencies, is that they have a project in hand or a brief, and they have this vision for it, and they want to be able to achieve it exactly how they envisioned. And I think places that I see our agencies super excited about is how they just draw on a canvas and it's real. It moves and they can see how it's going to move. And that gap between that idea to production is just getting really, really slim. And it's pretty incredible to see. So I think that's a big thing for agencies.
Absolutely. Now, also just following up on that, Gali, what do you think, if you're looking at the sector, as a whole, are there any specific things that agencies or are drawing agencies to this? I mean, is it like something like personalization or the AI integration or something like that?
So I think what's drawing agencies, and there are many different agencies and today, and they each kind of grab their sector and they become really good at certain parts, and they collaborate with other agencies, which is also interesting to see. And I think what many agencies that we talk to are trying to find ways to achieve that, that incredible result that we just talked about in a very efficient way. And I think that's obviously where AI comes into play, and also collaboration. And I think what we see a little bit different maybe than the DIY crowd, that obviously Wix is very much in the scene of the DIY. And I think the difference we see is that in DIY, there's a lot of expectation for AI to kind of do the heavy load and, generate the site for you and do almost everything for you. And then you just touch a few points and it's ready. When we look at agencies and professionals, they want in every step of the way, they're super professionals. They really take, in a very serious way, each part that they deliver to the client. So they're looking for AI tools to help them become really good or improve or get a bootstrapping into each one of these specific areas. So we see that's why we're offering AI tools for writing. We offer AI tools to help you with responsiveness. We help you with many different ways. I think one of the cool features that we're releasing now has to do with actually taking a client's image and regenerating it. So I think what's really cool about that is, right, anybody who worked with clients, so sometimes they have incredible content, and sometimes they have something that the essence there is exactly what you need, but it might not look exactly the right way, or by accident when somebody photographed it, somebody just walked by behind, and or you want a different style for the whole site, and you kind of want to create this cool effect on all the images. So being able to regenerate the image but keeping the essence of it, for example, is exactly the things that I think professionals are looking for. So I think that's something that we looked at a lot and we continue to explore. And we actually have a lot of conversations about, how much do you want the AI to do for you? Okay. And I think that's a topic, I have a background in design, and I really connect to all the conversations about where does the line stand. And it's something that the design world is going wild over it. There are very intense conversations about it. I'm sure you're seeing it all around.
Every week I have this conversation about AI.
Exactly.
Exactly. We can't have conversations in our industry, regardless of the sector that we're in, without AI becoming the topic of conversation.
Right. It's everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I will say just one thing I wanted to share. So I actually, my parents were at part of the burst of like the internet. They were in the tech industry in the late 80s. So it was in my home, this fear of like the internet, but this excitement also and being part of, this new thing, and also molding it and, bringing it to the market. And I think that's a place that we're standing in now. And I think we have a lot of responsibility as leaders in the industry of what this is going to be. And I think it's incredibly important to understand that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I have to say also my parents were also part of the like 80s tech, especially my dad. He's a web developer actually. So, I always joke and say I've been sitting in front of a computer fiddling with it since I was 2 years old, So I know that. And it's an exciting time for us right now, I think, yeah, if we look at like, I mean, I wasn't old enough to really remember those conversations around the internet and what the implications of it could be and everything. But from what I have spoken to with, industry veterans so far, is that it is extremely similar. So it touches on exactly what you just said. So it's very interesting. You're right, and it is a great responsibility that we have now. So I fear we might not get to the end of the line of it by this year. I think it's going to take a little while still. But in
It's
any
just
case,
the start.
absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Gali, again, I just want to know what sort of trends have you observed agency owners and directors or just agencies in general are really looking for or following when it comes to the no-code developing platforms?
So I think something we touched upon a little bit is really being able to take a design and turn it into something real. And I think
Mhm.
something we see a lot is it kind of goes into these two directions. One is that functionality wise, anything a client needs, you want to make sure as an agency that you don't hit a wall.
Yeah.
So I think that's a place that we see that even the small agencies have the vision and they have the capabilities to take on big clients because of collaboration, because of AI, because they can do so much more as a single individual, as a single contributor, which is really incredible. We also see a trend in the places where we talk, what we call it internally is like no code expression. Okay, so it's all the places where you're turning a website into an experience. You're kind of taking down the wall, right? So if it's motion, if it's things breaking apart and telling a story through motion, so all those places where you could only do with developers are now something that is at your fingertips, and you can really create an incredible experiences. And we see how this really brings agencies to the next level and how they win awards for their websites and how they're looking for that type of recognition as well, because it brings on business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we even give out awards at DesignRush for best web design, best app design,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I know it's a big marker for someone to be able to do that. I wonder, how does these no-code platforms really speed up the process to create e-commerce sites, business profiles, even with mobile optimization, which is super important, I know as well now. So I just wonder,
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Right. So I think, first of all, as an agency, it means that you can take on clients without having to code anymore. And I think actually a lot of the really, really complex functionality, which is in the edge cases, is where you would probably need developers at this point. I think there's something that really speeds up. It's all about how you can create a storefront and a store backend in no time, and really focus on how you want to sell, on the pricing, on exactly how you want the store front end. There's so much more that needs to happen in order for a store to actually be successful. So I think it actually leaves you so much time to do that. And basically having native solutions, for example, that don't require any code can get you there really, really fast, and which is not something that was possible just a few years ago.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, it beats sitting there typing out a bunch of code, to be honest. It really does. I know a little bit about coding. I can, the whole hello world thing, I can do that. But I know it's quite hectic to sit there for hours and if there's a bug and everything. So yeah, absolutely. I get that. I know that you guys transitioned from Wix Studio to EditorX. I think
The
recently
opposite.
last year, right? Yeah.
The opposite way. We transitioned
The
from
opposite way.
EditorX.
Okay, sorry. So
It's
okay.
okay.
You transitioned from
Yes.
EditorX to Wix Studio.
Mhm.
Apologies. Okay.
No
So
worries.
I wonder, first of all, what are the main differences with that change, and why did you decide to make them?
So actually, EditorX was kind of our first take to create a platform that had all these professional superpowers, and kind of like a first prototype where you are reaching to a new audience. And we learned so much from it because, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Wix was very, very focused on DIY. But we had this really natural progression where slowly more and more people would start building for other people. It would start, for example, for somebody building the portfolio for themselves, and then their sister would be like, "Oh, I wanna do a site for this and that, and can you help me out?" And people found out they're good at it and they can create really incredible sites. And they started asking us for features, and we started providing them features. And then the platform grew and grew. And we felt that we at a really great point where we want to start and dive into that world of actually building something specifically for people who are building for others. And we really built this crazy robust platform in terms of capabilities. And I think we needed to kind of learn how to package it. And we actually made a decision that we are going to kind of take all those capabilities and completely repackage them as Week Studio. We did an incredible and deep research with many teams at Wix, and we worked on it for I would say it was like between a few months. It's hard to say exactly when because so much ideation was in place. And we took all the teams at Wix and we decided we're going to come out with this platform that takes all the things that are most common out there in design and functionality and make them super efficient to use. And that we want at the end of the day, we kind of, when we look at it, we split it into two places where we say we want the journey to be incredible and we want the end result to be something our partners, our users are really proud of. So this was our goal. So we took the end result and we analyzed it, and we took the experience and analyzed it, and basically built a whole new platform with Studio.
Amazing. And you say you guys did that in like a couple of months, really, or a few months?
No, it was between 4 and 6 months. Yeah, it was a
That's quick.
crazy. I won't lie. I
That must
almost
have,
left here. Yeah,
exactly.
but it
That
was
must
like
have been an intense half a year or quarter
yes,
at least.
it was, and especially, Wix is big now, and
Yeah.
we really like if when we work together, we do crazy stuff, but it's like gathering everybody to a vision, thinking together how we're going to make it on time, being incredibly focused. And I have to say, one of the exciting things that happened in my team, I feel like a lot of the young talent here had an incredible situation to shine, and they were bringing like ideas that sometimes when you have a fresh outlook and you just come into the industry, you have you have all these fresh ideas, and we let them bring it in. And I think it kind of created this really this balance between people who have a lot of experience but taking on, like, not being afraid of huge changes. I remember, for example, one of the younger technical designers was like, why aren't we letting people just design in pixels? Okay, let's let them design the layout and what they want the site to look like, and then let's give them all the responsive tools on top of that. Because we
Amazing.
are a drag and drop a
Yeah.
platform, and that's the canvas at the end. That's kind of the process. You create the layout, you put responsiveness, you put interactions, and obviously all the functionality behind it. And I remember the first conversation we had with development, and they were like, that's not possible. And then we're like, let's try again. Let's talk about it again. And then we started breaking it apart. And I want to tell you that at the end of the day, the developers were the ones that were like, we're going to win this. This is going to happen. They
Oh,
got so
amazing.
excited about the effect of it. And in general, how we worked was like idea, POC, idea, POC. And I think that's why we were able to work really fast and also meet complexities really quickly, so we can kind of take them down or understand that the idea is either isn't feasible or isn't as good as we thought. So it was a very incredible process. Yeah.
No, that's always amazing when you get to push through a big project like that. And I mean, really, again, commending you guys for doing that in 4 to 6 months. That must have been that must have been
Wow.
quite hectic. So I take my hat off
Yes.
to you. What I also wanted to ask was, or when did you realize that you needed to pivot some of your features? I mean, what was the thought process behind that in the first place?
I think one of the things that we saw is that for EditorX, the people who really connected to the platform were super technical, and and we got really incredible feedback from them, and we actually keep working with them. But we wanted to reach a bigger, a bigger range of agencies and a bigger range of users. We felt it had this huge potential, and that's why we had a moment where we said, okay, we have all the capabilities, we have advocates for it. We also have a huge partner community at Wix that are finding EditorX too complicated, and they want to use a professional platform. So when they look at Wix.com, for example, it's a DIY platform. You can go very far with it. You can do really big stuff with it, right? But at
Sure.
the end of the day, it's maybe we did too good of a job to brand Wix as anybody can build a site. So we were
That
kind
doesn't
of in
sound like
this
a
middle
bad
of
thing to me.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I think it was an understanding that we're kind of we have this huge we already have all these partners, and they need a platform that will be good for them. So we kind of, we also did a lot of the process with them. We showed them iterations, we got feedback. We showed both to EditorX users and to Wix partners that were using Wix, and we have and also to people who never used Wix, and we got tons of incredible feedback, what works, what doesn't work, and it helped us with all the iterations. So if just to summarize it, I think EditorX was really appealing to very technical people, and the Wix platform is more appealing to DIY. And we wanted to kind of grab both and bring them a platform that is for them.
So Gali, the one thing I also wanted to speak to you about is, I wonder, from your point of view, what should agencies really look for in a no-code web development platform to really serve their clients better?
So I think they really need to look, first of all, at their process and see where they can leverage no code within their process. I think there's tons of efficiency that they can create for themselves, and save time, basically, to take on more projects or to spend more time on the things that they love.
Yeah.
So as an agency, I think it's really important to look at that and to give that some thought. I think also something that you will see that for each project, you might need something a little bit different or a combination of tools. And there are so many out there. And I think if you find the right tools to get you to do the project how you enjoy the most, and to get you the best result, you'll succeed. You'll enjoy what you're doing, and your results will be great. So I think that's something super incredible. And I also think, more on a personal note, or maybe from managing for many years, I think finding people that your ideas layer on top of each other is one of the most important things. And I can say that every time I had big growth in my career is because my boss or my colleagues were were that for me.
No, that's so important. You're absolutely right. I feel the same way. Okay, so I want to shift the focus a little bit now. I know that one of your most recent partnerships is with Figma, right? Now, I really wonder, what was that strategic thought process behind that collaboration for Wix?
Sure. So first of all, Figma is really, I would say right now, the Beatles of designers. I don't know.
I mean, they have been for a little while, if I have to say
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
myself.
Listen,
Yeah.
I love all the tools that I've used. I was a big Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign fan, and then I was a huge Sketch fan. Even when it was like just starting and still wasn't very stable, I loved it so much. And then Figma came in, and I still love all these platforms, and I see all of the advantages of all of them. I think what we understood is, again, we talked to users, we talked to agencies, and it was when they talked about efficiency, it was one of the things that was really time consuming. So there are designers or agencies that work with designers that create at least the first real draft of the site after, kind of sketching around and trying out. They create it in Figma, and we wanted them to take their idea and bring it into Studio, and that it will come in a level that it's so the transition is so smooth that they are very close to the finish line in terms of they need to add functionality and all of that, but the design at least is there. And that was something that was raised many times. And I also think that, we really believe that anybody should do the process that they enjoy doing. And we still want Wix Studio to be their home. So for us, you use Figma or you sketch in your, in your notebook. Some designers start already in Wix Studio. We want it to be your home and for you to be able to make it into a real website at the end of the day with Wix Studio. And I think it's also very fun to have conversations with designers where we talk about, when we talk about the combination of the two platforms and why they're creating certain things in Figma, why they're creating certain things in Studio. I think we had really, really interesting conversations there.
I wonder, what has the response been with the Figma plugin and the impact it's had on, the experience, and just basically like what insights can you give me on how that's affected or impacted the way agency owners can use Wix or no-code platforms, for instance?
So there's actually really a lot of feedbacks that, first of all, time saving, obviously. We also saw on Twitter in many languages, which was so cool to see, like this Japanese agency that was writing a site that would take them like a week, if not two, to translate. It was like they finished the whole website in a few hours, including the design. So it's like the amount of time that it saves is insane. So that was one area of response, and another area I think was exciting for us because we worked really hard on the quality before releasing. We put a lot of focus on trying to release a really high quality product. So just a lot of talks about how smooth it was and how they didn't expect it to be that good of a translation and all of that. And I think another thing that was very cool to see is that actually we saw that in numbers and some interesting new users that were coming from that funnel. So that was very cool to see that this is making people think of Wix Studio as their tool, even just for this feature, which is and then they discover the Wix Studio world. So that was also very, very cool to see.
Apart from, the work that you've currently done with Figma, what would you say is the last major investment that Wix has made that enhances agency operations?
So I think a lot of the things we are doing right now is investing obviously in the many, many different efficiency tools and AI. So that's something huge we're doing in almost every team here across Wix. And so I think that's one very big area. Another big area that we're working on is enhancing all of our business solutions, that I also think we discussed a bit. But being able to build any site is, that's our. We feel we are there, but we want to make it a really incredible experience. And I think everything no code, really, we have a few very, very talented teams here that they are insane in CSS animations and in media, and they are finding ways to take the coolest trends that are just even starting to happen and turn them into no code capabilities, and with a focus on making them performant. And I think that's something that we love bringing to the table. And we can bring pretty insane capabilities, but every time we release some no code insane effect, we get the most like hype about it. But yeah, people love that stuff. Like I said, I feel like, when people feel like they can express themselves, they feel really empowered by it. And I think when we just released the first time our no code like scroll capabilities, and we saw some of the designers playing with them, they're like, oh my God, look at this insane thing I did in just a few minutes. It's exactly what I wanted. And I would have had to go back and forth with a developer that is not passionate about animations and trying to get them to understand what I mean. So I think those places are very emotional for people.
Absolutely, for sure. What is next for Wix? And particularly, what is next in terms of features that might really stand out for agency owners?
So
can you disclose?
Yeah, that's what so actually I will say that we have every 3 months we have an open studio event where we share all the new things that are coming. So I can't share. I can just say that, we're very, very focused on making agencies just be able to create incredible stuff and also to manage their businesses. So I think that's yeah.
As much as you can.
I can't really talk about there are some really big projects, but I can't say anything.
Okay, but
it's really hard.
You can't blame me for trying. Okay, I have to ask.
No, you should. It's your job. It's your job.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's it for my side for today, Gali. Thank you so much for your amazing answers and for sitting down with us today. Really, I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And that's a wrap on our episode with Gali Erez. If your project could benefit from a top-tier agency's expertise, look no further than DesignRush.com/marketplace. Our carefully curated selection of agencies is equipped to help you navigate the digital world, from web design to marketing, to bring your vision to life. Remember to like and subscribe for more engaging chats with industry leaders. Again, I'm your host, Vianca Mayer. Stay curious and join us for the next episode.